This is one metal that you don't see too much talk about. It's palladium. And I've been saying various reasons why I like it better than gold, but it is an industrial metal. And if a risk acid is silver, or silver is a risk acid, palladium is a real risk acid. It's very risky. Now, I kind of sit, since I bought a lot of it when it was like crashed down to nothing, I don't care about what it's going to right now because I'm ahead. Even when it pulled back, it was still like 3 times ahead almost, right? But I want to point out about this Fibonacci. It did work. I was calculating Fibonacci for palladium where the pullback would be. It worked pretty good. I mean, it was going to be around 580, 585. It went to 560. But today it's around 715 roughly. So it's a 28% increase. Now, I know they look at silver. Silver went up, it's 28%, approximately 26% for the beginning of the year 2012. And, this is the way you can just lie with facts. Lie with facts, right? In other words, palladium took a big jump real fast at the end of 2011. And it actually did like 20-something% inside of no time, in like a month or something like that, or whatever. Just like silver did right now in 2012. Same kind of deal. So it's not like, it's really no different. That's what I'm kind of saying. But there's a lot of properties with palladium that it's almost like silver on steroids as far as volatility, risk, and potential to make money. And yeah, it's different from gold, but it's like never really been used in the monetary system like silver has been. Palladium, no. And the only place it was in Russia. Russia had coins on it for one time. I forgot what the heck it was, but they had coins with it. It was monetized in Russia somewhat at one point in time. But I keep thinking about some of these charts out there, charts. But some of the ways they pushed palladium up. And one was back here in 2000. I think it was 1,075. It was over 3 times the price of gold. Palladium went ballistic, right? It went ballistic. And that was because of a rumor that Russia ran out of stockpiles and the production was not going to be able to keep pace with for the manufacturing. And in a lot of ways, even though this only has one pretty much, I don't know, some people would call it a dumb use because it's used in catalyst or whatever the heck it is. Actually, that's kind of like a pretty damn essential use because, it's palladium or platinum, right? One or the other. And, sustainability, green earth, and all this type of stuff. It's coming on stronger and stronger. But anyway, back in this 2000, they had the big scare, and quite obviously to me, this is just a guess. I don't know if any inside information, but I can't see how Ford executives could be so stupid as to buy this stuff like that. They weren't being scammed if they weren't in on it. But, who paid for the price of palladium going up this high? Ford supposedly lost $1 billion or whatever it is on this transaction. No, Ford did not lose $1 billion on this transaction. The consumers lost $1 billion because they bought their cars. It was in there. Everybody just got a little add-on charge to their car because the price of palladium was this high when it was purchased back then. That's just my feeling. That was a game. And I think these Russians, they know what they're doing with this metal. Since they got in Norilsk, they can do so much with this. See, unlike silver, silver is produced pretty much everywhere in the world. I mean, not everywhere, but there's a hell of a lot there's dozens and dozens of countries that have silver production. It's not like we got a place up in Norilsk, northern Siberia, and this is 39% of the world's supply of silver. No, that's what palladium is. That's what palladium is. So this is like a real risk asset. But I'm kind of sitting where I feel okay because I bought it down here in this dip here in 2008. So even when it pulled back, it was up like almost 3 times. So that's why I kind of like, what do I care, right? But I think it's going to go to like 1,000, but I think it's probably going to go to like twice the price of gold eventually. So I'd like to see that. Now, some facts I picked up off of Palladium, but I'm going to comment a little bit more on this because this is just stuff off the internet. And you know how the internet is, but you know, they say central banks are buying palladium in addition to gold for their foreign reserves. I don't know how much, but I find it interesting that they're buying it. Which means if they're buying it, they're not buying it because the price is going to go down. They're going to make the price go up. And quite obviously, the Russians can actually make this price move left all over the place. And they're some of the greatest liars going. You know, I'm not saying the Russian people, but you know, the guys on the top. Damn, they are good. They're good. They, in other words, like last year, 2011, palladium was actually record usage. There was more supply used than anything. It was in 2010. It was a record usage back then, but it was exceeded that in 2011. Price drops, right? The price drops. And you know, I should have got out of it like in August, but I wasn't around here. That was the thing. That's not my normal strategy. When that thing hit $850 an ounce, I would have got out of it. I would have got out of it. Again, I would have got maybe not all out of it, but I would have got out of about half of it. You know, even yesterday, you know, I got this triple leverage silver. I'm out of 40% of it. So, I mean, yeah, shit can go. I don't know what it's going to do. It's going to go up, down. I mean, it's looking at it this morning. It was going up. Now it's going down. But I got out of 40% of it. So, I don't know for a fact what's going to happen. But this palladium is actually something you can almost... It's rough to predict it because there's only one place it really comes from. Yes, it comes from South Africa too. But I think the Russians really got most of the control over the price of this metal. So what happened with this metal like in 2011? It went down. People got out of the ETFs back in August. That was interesting. There was a net disinvestment out of the ETFs. And they decided to raise the margins on palladium and platinum, even though both of those metals were down for the year. Now you say the gold market was getting overheated. They raised margins. Silver market, oh, they raised margins. You know, back, I'm talking September. They raised them on platinum and palladium. And they were already down. Yet, there was record usage of the metal. Record usage. Huh. What does that scream right out there playing right in your face? They're pushing the metals down as far as possible so they can have a good ride up. That's what I was thinking. So, you know, I was saying before people should be getting into palladium bound when it was below 600. And, you know, I'm just holding on to stuff. But I'm, you know, getting a little more ballsy in 2012. I don't know if I'm going to be correct or not. But as far as the, you know, I had that thing where I wanted to get rid of 2011 before I start doing more moves. You know, the next thing to point on this was worldwide currency devaluation. Yeah, that's quite obvious. And the fact that, you know, palladium is pretty much a very, very essential industrial material. It's going to have some kind of worth. And this is one of those internet facts. I don't know if it's true. It sounds a little nutty to me. But palladium is 15 times more rare than platinum and 30 times more rare than gold. I heard this stuff before, but I think there's some truth to that. I don't know about how many times more it is, but it is more rare than platinum. And it is far, far more rare than gold. So you got a metal that actually has, as a percentage, is actually used more in industry than silver. That is a fraction of the price of gold, a very small fraction of the price of gold, yet it's far more rare than gold. Now, with silver, you could say, yes, there's less available for investment purposes. Well, really, there isn't hardly any palladium available for investment purposes. You know, the one thing that's wrong with this is that, you know, there's a lot of people on the street, if you actually said palladium, and go, what the hell is that? I mean, it's a lot of people. I mean, your average person. I mean, there's, amongst an intelligent group, they would know right off the bat. But a lot of people don't even know what the hell it is. And that's really what's wrong with it. And it's not really had monetary use except very minimal in Russia. There's no real substitute for palladium except platinum. And that is one reason these two metals need to get to about the same price. And actually, they need to exceed gold by far because of their rarity and industrial use. But so much for fundamentals, because fundamentals told me that palladium and platinum should have went up this year because of record usage, and platinum was, in other words, platinum was also something where they had a lot of problems with South Africa. They had to take out, they had strikes, they had electrical outages, and they had to take materials out of stockpiles for record demand. Both these metals had record demand. Both went down. Both had margin rate increases. Which tells me they're going to go back up, and it is kind of a rigged game. But now, I want to point out something here about palladium. This is why I think it's like silver on steroids. But I really, at one point in time, this metal is going to be probably the best investment going. But as far as a risk asset, this is big time risk, big time. Automotive is 65%. Now that's actually coming on a little bit stronger, and you could say it's one usage, but as far as automotive goes, if there's any material out there, with this green technology, and the fact that you got to have sustainability, clean air, green earth, and everybody drives cars, and everybody wants to drive a car that doesn't have a car. What's gonna do? It's gonna go up. More nations are using cars that didn't have, where the populace didn't have its automobiles. It's like becoming more popular with these little cars that are out there that are producing. And the hybrids use 30% more palladium. Plus, off-road vehicles, and now there's new legislation coming out with farm equipment off-road vehicles. They have to have catalyst. So, this is, even though it's one use, other industrial use like electronics, like in other words, like your cell phone screen, there's bits of palladium in everything. Just about everything there is, there's bits of palladium in it. Dentistry and stuff. Jewelry, actually, this is probably going down. Actually, there's less, even as a percentage of the total palladium out there, it's like even smaller percentage usage, and you're talking palladium is like a very small amount of it compared to silver. Silver, it's like 10%. ETFs, hardly nothing, and actually they got out of them. A lot of people got out of them. Now again, Norilsk nickel, this down here, 39% of the world's supply is coming from that Siberian place. Now, if Russia decides they can make this metal any price they want, that is why they drove it down. That is why I think it's going to be. I think it's going to go up into a new high, and I don't know what the hell they're going to do. This one, it's very tough to get any kind of news on it, and most of the news on it is pure disinformation. In other words, they'll tell you about the record demand for palladium. Yeah, we had a record demand for palladium. What happened to the price? It went down. It dumped on the market. They did raise it. This metal, like I said, Norilsk, Russia, 39% of the world's supply. That is not a situation like silver, where you got it in Colombia, Peru, Mexico, China. It's the United States, Canada, Australia. It's produced all over the place, right? It's not, and but what's really wrong with palladium? It's brand new as far as like an investment, brand new, really. If you look at the silver, industrial applications are 46%, while palladium was like 65%. Photography, 7%. You can actually, if silver went up real high, this would go out the door. Jewelry, 16%, and that's of this total supply. 16%. Palladium was 7% of the total supply. Coins and metals, 5%. I didn't even have a figure for coins and metals on palladium. It's probably so small that it's nothing. It's nothing. Actually, this is silverware, 5%. Coins and metals, 10%. So, I mean, in reality, when you're taking, like, this is supposedly the ETFs. Now, actually, this number is wacky because the ETFs got to be are supposedly using a hell of a lot more than 178 million ounces of silver, and there's like 600 million ounces of silver that went into the ETF since this time period, not 178 million. Plus, there's another 580 million ounces that were added to the European dealer stockpiles, which so was like one. That's, in other words, there's something screwy with these charts, and actually, Brother John F found this, and actually, that means that, to me, flat out, these ETFs don't have this stuff in them. They don't. They don't. But as far as some of the fundamentals on palladium, aside from the fact that it's never been a monetized metal, it's never really been recognized as a money except in Russia, maybe in some small period of time. It's probably far more industrial usage than it is actually far more industrial usage than silver, and you only got one place it's coming from. So I expect that this metal is actually going to do some kind of crazy prices that you just will not believe. And the automotive usage is coming on stronger. And the other thing is, besides the hybrid cars, but the fuel of the future, like I'd say natural gas might be something that's going to be coming on very strong. And I don't know how that relates with palladium or anything, but the fuel of the future is probably going to be hydrogen. Hydrogen is something that's extremely abundant, and I don't believe that story about you need fossil fuels to produce hydrogen. I think there is an electrolysis type of way to split hydrogen out of water, but the oil companies probably suppress that technology. I don't really think that's too much of a theory, and considering the financial interest involved, I think there is something to that, and I think people have discovered that have been, put aside. But in the future, hydrogen is going to be one of the biggest fuel sources going, and that probably would be the thing that runs vehicles and things like that versus even natural gas. So palladium, the unique property of palladium as far as what hydrogen goes, it's a hydrogen filter. At room temperature, palladium absorbs 900 times the volume of hydrogen, and what it does is actually filters this stuff, so it works like a hydrogen purifier for hydrogen production. It also works for hydrogen storage. So I think, with all the new green technology out there, and the fact also that hybrid cars require 30% more palladium, hybrid cars are probably, they're more of a rarity today, probably going to be the norm in a few years, but that's 30% more palladium. So, and like I said, one place, 39% of the world's supply comes from this one place, North Russia, northern Siberia. So they pretty much got you. You talk about industrial usage, it's really practically all of it's industrial usage. It's over 90%. Over 90%. When you're taking automotive, which is industrial, and industrial, it's way over 90%. Compare that with silver, 46%. You could do without photography, jewelry, that could decrease. Silverware, I couldn't imagine people buying silverware priced at $1,000 or $500 an ounce with silver. But palladium is hardcore industrial stuff all the way, and you're just not going to be able to get rid of it if these guys in Russia say, "Oh, we don't have it anymore. We can't produce as much." This stuff can skyrocket like crazy, and they're going to play this game again, because I just keep thinking about this. They're going to do this again someday. And that's what I'd like to know, what the price point's going to be. But I start seeing this stuff going like double gold. It's going bye-bye. And I'm thinking gold's going to go to thousands of dollars an ounce. So palladium might be worth $8,000 to $10,000 an ounce sometime in the future. Not this year, obviously, but I think it's going to exceed $1,000 this year. I think it's probably going to get maybe to 1,100, hit its all-time high, or very close to it. That's what I think. So a lot of people aren't thinking about this metal too much, but it's got not every reason silver is a, like, in other words, palladium's never really been, money per se. But as far as an industrial use metal, and now that it's recognized as an official precious metal, it's kind of new. It's a new animal. But also some of the uses that are coming out there. Just remember some of these hardcore facts. You know, 90%, over 90% of it has to be is used up, and its uses are not like silver. Like, 46% might have some hardcore industrial usage, but some of that stuff is like mirrors. They don't need to use silver in mirrors. Photography, they don't need that. They don't need, the jewelry can go way down. I don't think it's very good for jewelry. Silverware, that's a joke and a half. And coins, yes, because it's been monetized, at one point in time. So coins are going to be good for a financial crisis, but at one point in time that's going to go away. So a lot of the usage is not really industrial the way palladium is. So you can, and like I said, I'm repeating it again, but I just want to drive it home. As far as this one place here in Norris, 39%, one country, one mine, and then there's South Africa, they've got over 30% again. So